Okay, that's better right there. It's all in the green. Hopefully, we will get you all back. I've been talking a whole bunch of stuff. Nobody probably heard me in the first little bit. Okay, so let's bring up OB, Discord. There we go. So, let's make sure we have our virtual cam on, and then let's show it to whoever's in thing. Okay, so hopefully we'll get you all back, and you'll actually be able to make out what I'm saying. Um, so let's see. It's just my lovely face right now. So, as I was saying earlier, maybe you heard me, maybe you didn't. I don't know. Um, Although I'm probably gonna take those couple minor streams off. Um, Figure not do too much drawing tonight, if at all. Just talk to you guys about what happened over the week, my last week. Going to Saskatoon and all that. Answer any questions or all that. So what shall I say? So yeah, obviously left here Wednesday, um, about 3 p.m., 2:30, 3 p.m. Um, to go to the airport here in Hamilton. Stopped downtown, picked up some change from downtown for that I need for buses and stuff like that. And then got up to the airport, got in through security, got my boarding pass through security, no problem. Hamilton, it says it's an international airport, but it's small at the same time, so it was fairly easy to find your way around in it. Um, and then I had to, of course, wait for my plane to board and then take off into the wild blue yonder. Um, so I did do a video of the con over 2 days before it opened. Be putting those together. That'll go up tomorrow. Um, is anybody coming? Oh, you know what I should do? I should share this out again. We'll do a Facebook share. People be wondering what the heck he's doing twice in a row. Let's put the Twitter one out. Let's grab it and let's put it in our general stuff. Let's take this other one down. Move all embeds. Yeah. Okay. Delete message. Yes, delete. Okay, so there we go. Okay, so we've reshared out. Let's get it so we can see any chat. Hey, good night, Spoon. Traveling. Yes, I traveled. I went all the way to Saskatchewan for a con and Saskatchewan Entertainment Expo. Hey, Flit, how are you? So, yeah, that went pretty good. Overall, I will say. How are you two? Um, Actually, I think September or October, I will be in Athol, Massachusetts. Good night, Spoon, for a bit of a festival, comic festival there, with some good friends that we've had on here before. Recite the streamer's prayer. There's a streamer's prayer. I've never heard of this. Um, but yeah, gather ye pay pigs well you may. Old time is still a flying, and this same pig that pays today, tomorrow will be dying. I've never heard of that. I'm not sure whether I agree with it. So I was not so much praying it, but more reciting it as you put it up or reading it. Uh, so, um, what have you guys heard? Well, I was there in Saskatoon. I went to a Dollarama, which is a discount store, and I actually got a comic there. Go figure. I didn't get a comic at the Comic Con. I sold comics, but I didn't get a comic. I got Justice League Power Rangers, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. So that was pretty good. Um, but yeah, the flight there was with Swoop, a company called Swoop, and it was packed to the brim. It was a 3 hour and 40-minute flight, which was all right, you know. First time flying by myself. I've flown, obviously, for those that have been with the channel a while, to Guatemala and to Brazil. But of course, that was for a mission trip with my church. Yeah, I'd say I had fun for the most part. Um, as I was saying earlier on my other thing that is probably going to take taken down, it's not there at the moment. Um, about mid Saturday afternoon, no, early Saturday afternoon, I finally got a brilliant idea. Well, I had had this idea the day before, about being myself, being, you know, um, fun or whatever. I'm not sure what yeah, I think you know what I mean. But it really came to me without coming to me, not like, oh, I should get up and do this. I just did it without thinking that I should do this. Uh, or not really getting up thinking that I should do this. But I got up, I stood up and started saying, free stickers, because if you guys remember, I got these little stickers by accident. Well, sort of by accident. I got them originally for the campaign. Hey, Metal, when are you coming to Massachusetts? That will be in September, October. Let me see which the date is exactly. October, I'll be there in Athol, Massachusetts. They're having a Comic Con comic festival um on October 14th of this year, and I will be there. Good night, Spoon. Hey, JR. So, yeah, but as you know, one of the stretch goals was to get a sticker, and I had small stickers like this for Canadian Shield and Snowdrift. Um, and because these were so small, I didn't want to give these to my customers. Although I think I gave some to some of them. I'm not sure, but I got bigger ones, and with the rest of these, I decided to, give them away at cons and such. So, um, with that, like I said, I stood up and started saying, "Yes, I'm back." So I kind of missed everything you said the last 15 minutes. Yeah, yeah. I figured that. So you might have to ask your questions because I forget what they were off the cuff. But with those small stickers, like I said, I got up, started saying free. I had it on my, like I had a printed up sheet where it's saying small stickers free. But somebody traveling down the middle of the aisle can't see that. They don't know I got free stickers. They don't know what I got. They look over, they might see a little bit, but they're not really paying attention, So I get up, start saying free stickers. Now, I can't say they came really charging down my door, but I started getting a lot more traffic at my table at that point. We should go to Salem and do witchcraft together. Um, And then I don't think I started doing this right away, but shortly then after, them coming over with the free stickers, I started saying I had my comic books right beside on the table sort of just off to the side of the stickers. And at that point I started saying, and these stickers are based on my characters Canadian Shield and Snowdrift as I point to their respective books. And with that, that ended up helping me sell out of Canadian Shield 1. I have a couple more here, but they're for a couple people specifically. But I am all sold out of every single, um, pretty much that's supposed to be sold out of Canadian Shield number 1. Canadian Shield 1. I still have plenty of Canadian Shield number 2s and plenty of Snowdrift number 1s. With this cover or the alt cover. I would assume that Rick is staunchly anti-witchcraft. Yes, I am. Um, so I did over $200 in sales. Um, well, there was lots of stuff there. Like the one person on the one side to me had bead art. A lot of people visited theirs. The person on the other side of me was a novelist. And like I said, I only sold out of Canadian Shield 1, and I came with like less than 20. So that's not technically a lot of comics to sell out of either. How about wizardry? um, so, but still, a lot of people that were getting number 1 at the time, although a lot of people just got number 1, about half, I'd say half half, maybe three quarters got Canadian Shield 1 and Canadian Shield 2, but we'll say half just got Canadian Shield 1, and then there was another half that got Canadian Shield 1 and Canadian Shield 2. When I first set up the table here, I took some pictures. If I can find it, let me bring up pictures one at a time. Add image. Um, I should just bring these up. Comic Cons. Okay, so I'm not sure whether this is how my table first looked or not. Yeah, this is. Oh, uh, uh, stretch the screen. So this is how my table first looked. As you can't see my pointer, but um, on the one side, on the left side, you see Snowdrift's on one side, Canadian Shield stuff is on the other. For me selling out and making $200 on floppies is definitely a good thing. Those profit margins are pretty slim on comics. Sounds like your convention was pretty successful. Overall, it was. I would definitely say it was successful. Panda. I would have liked to make more because probably with my flight, my lodging, the cost of my booth, all those together, I spent a lot of money. Let's say, um, Snowdrift is a rocking hard body. Does Snowdrift one recount her past traveling Canada? No, it doesn't because that's not her past. But so and then and I'm not sure whether the next photo here that I'm gonna show will show you how much I changed it, but okay, so then I ended up changing it more to this look. I think the only thing that changed at the end was of course there was no Canadian Shields and I had um Canadian Shield prop 2 propped up like Canadian Shield 1. So once I did this, things work better. Snowdrift wasn't getting a lot of sales. But once I did this, Snowdrift started getting some sales. So, hey, Crooked Painter, yeah. Yeah, once you factor in the extended cost, it kind of hurts you in the pockets. Yeah, yeah. But at the same time, I did get, because of what I did, because of getting that traffic, I ended up giving away like 400 business cards, I think. And I got rid of. I'm not sure whether you can, how much I can, what I can do here. Let's see. Image there. Let's see. Hey, Test Monkey. Yeah, you should have had a shot of you in the poster from. Yeah. Um. I should have got somebody to take of me behind. I thought of that, but I didn't want to disturb anybody. So you can see these things are fairly full with the thing. All the Canadian Shield ones are gone. Um. And that's what I've got left for. And that's what I've got left for Snowdrift. So that investment in the 800 business cards is starting to pay off. Actually, it was 8,000, but yes, it's starting to pay off. And this now gives me a thing to do at another cons like pick of this. I've gone to some smaller ones that probably saying every few seconds free stickers is not probably a good idea. And of course, I gotta go get myself some more stickers. I was afraid I was actually going to run out of business cards because of how awesome that you got the pee bucket in the shot. Oh, did you notice any patterns with your customer base pertaining to age range? I feel like comic buying audience is aging out. I don't see many youngsters buying comics. Well, the thing is, for a con, most kids are coming with their parents, so you're not going to see kids buying them in and of themselves more a lot. I've seen adults buying them, I think, for themselves, and I've seen adults buying them for their kids. Yeah, I'm probably down to um what, 7,000? It might be down to 7,000 now, Good Night Spoon. Yes, it was 8,000. Um, so yeah, yes, technically it was mainly, I'd say, all adults buying them, but there was few there with their kids that bought them, I know, for their kids. There's a lot that seem to buy them for themselves too. And sometimes you don't know because maybe their kids aren't with them or whatever. Maybe their kids are off playing some video game because they had a video game center. They had a small arcade. Um, Tomorrow, I'm going to be putting up a video that's probably 40 minutes, maybe more. About I go around the con over 2 different days. Like I went through half the con, the tables, before the show started. And the next day, the morning, I go through the other half again before it starts. It's just because I didn't get time beforehand. Hey, Captain Finity, did you ask and retain emails for each sale? I didn't ask for each
Hey,
sale.
Rick.
Hey, I didn't ask for each person, but I did have an email list and I got 4 or 5 signups, so that's good. How are you today, Metal?
Oh, I'm doing fine. Also, say hey to Massive Panda. He said hey to me in the chat, but like I walked away, and then I came back like minutes later.
Crooked Panda said you got to start a collection so we can get a hooker to cosplay as Snowdrift next time. Yeah, I would definitely like somebody play cosplaying as either Canadian Shield or Snowdrift at this point. It would be neat. And Captain Finity's got some popcorn. Good Night Spoon says, fun fact, aging out isn't a thing. Turns out the audience members are age at the same rate as the content and their creators. um,
Yeah, I
uh,
also don't think anybody's aging out of buying comics as a medium, right? Especially when you look at how well manga sells. People just aren't making comics that appeal to younger people on average, and not necessarily making them in a form that they're going to buy, right? Young people are broke. They rely on their parents. They need to have cheap alternatives.
yeah. Let's see. That will drive some traffic, said Crooked. What's up, Captain Finity? Says Massive Panda. Massive Panda laughs. Testimony. Have you thought about doing an Asian hero in your world, both but in manga form? Well, technically, my character Ozona is supposed to be Asian, so I've already got that. Um, Doing it in manga form, not necessarily. I am working on the harem manga that we created that we were supposed to do a contest for so long ago. I'm working on getting it together slowly. I've got to get the title page, and I'll be putting the first page of that up on well, Global Comics and on what's the other one? Webtoons. Uh Flit says you need a Booth Bunny cosplaying as Snowdrift to bring in the incels. Fill a baggie with powdered sugar and tell it her it's cocaine, but she only gets it after the god. Canadians are meant to forget. Flit. Uh, um, Captain Finity says, "Hello, greetings, Massive Panda." Good Night Spoon says, "I'm in the mood to play Cheap Trick suddenly." Test Monkey says, "Exactly. My son is Gen Z and got him into collecting, but him and his friends went to manga, which don't which don't blame them with most modern comics." Yeah, yeah, for sure. Uh, so anything you have to say or questions you might have about my weekend or my
No, not really.
I figured I wasn't going to do drawing. I didn't think I'd get much drawing done tonight with, talking about the last weekend. The con.
Well, I don't think you're gonna get much drawing done tonight anyway, with how often you have to reset your stream.
Yeah, well, that too. Well, it was only twice. I only end up starting 25 minutes late because of it. I might go an extra 25 minutes because of it. Master Panda, yes. Yeah, that was what I was getting at. Yeah. But yeah, it was a good weekend. I think I got. I don't think I'm not sure what's happened because of business cards. My sub count was down to 42. I'm back up to 45 because of the weekend for 745. So hopefully a bunch of people, start looking at those business cards and subscribe or whatever, do stuff because of it. I'm not sure. Most of them will probably just go to my website, though. I should make sure I have. I've got to redo some stuff on my website. Make sure it points them to my YouTube channel. Um, JR says hookers blow convention booth babes Christian comics 2023. Yeah. So anybody else got any questions out there about the thing? I actually sold two or three big stickers of the Canadian Shield. Um, I only sold one trading card, which Really hurts the pocketbook because I got a whole bunch printed up just for the con initially. I'll be able to sell them anyways, but you know, eventually. But I got them for the con initially, but didn't sell anything. So like, yeah, well,
I mean, that makes sense though, right? Because you have to think about like what sells in what market.
yeah,
So you could sell a comic of a character nobody knows because that's a good way to introduce somebody to a character. You can even sell stickers to
yeah,
somebody that they don't know. But if they don't know the character, why do they want a collectible trading card? All right,
yeah,
like you can be introduced to characters that way, but when you get like a booster pack and there's like characters you didn't know about, you got the booster pack hoping you got a character you knew about.
yeah. Yeah, I get that. I was just hoping it might be a cheap way for people to get introduced to my character too, because it has some minor backstory. It also has, although it doesn't say it has some stats on the back. You know, I was just hoping. Also, for like Toxico and Messenger, it actually has some history on the back on them on the back too. So where in the comics you don't really get much, you don't have much of their back story. Those characters, and I'm not sure when that stuff will be revealed in the comics. Well, Messenger, I'm not sure whether it will ever be revealed, but let's see. Text Monkey was the where was the convention? I came in late. In Saskatchewan, Saskatchewan. Test Monkey. Goodness.
Which still doesn't sound like a real place.
Yeah, I know. And it sounds like you're almost saying the same thing twice, too. Um, Goodnight Spoon says, "Do websites still exist? I thought YouTube was everything." JR says, sure, sure. So, how many issues is the first story arc of Canadian Shield? Um, I'm not sure whether he has. There's really for my first year, whether there's a story arc, I'd say for or first year and a half, technically, a story arc for any of them. The basic story arc for Canadian Shield might be his journey from um uh Northern Ontario back to Hamilton, um which was like 16 to 18 issues. But overall, there isn't a story arc, just except that he's traveling south. Spent time outside Melville. Okay, I'm not even sure where that is. Oh, hey, I've been there. He says, "Oh, cool, good that you've been to Saskatchewan, Saskatchewan. Awesome." Good night, Spoon says, "I think I'm offended by the words like cheap and free." Well, lots of people weren't at that con. It's like I actually I was saying it so often enough, although I wasn't saying it that loud. I was saying it loud enough so people in the aisle could hear, and the aisles were fairly wide. But the two people beside me didn't care, didn't say anything. Somebody behind me, behind the curtain, after an hour or two of me saying it, complained to me about lowering my voice or something because it's getting annoying, which bummed me out a little bit. Um,
Well, you're at a con, not a flea market.
yeah, yeah, I know. I was a bit hesitant about doing it too, although you don't usually see that in flea markets either. But, but it's loud. People aren't paying attention to you. You got to get them to pay attention to you somehow, right? And the fact that I have free stickers, they can't see it from across the aisle. Free stickers. Let's see. What else we got here? Flit says place cross comic stickers in random places all over your town, like on crosswalks, poles, businesses, windows, police cars, etc. Viral marketing. Well, the on crosswalks and stuff like that does sound like a good idea. Putting up some sort of flyer for maybe my YouTube channel or something like that. Um,
You probably shouldn't slap them on police cars, though.
yeah,
That'll probably backfire on you.
that I don't think so. Massive fan. Yeah, I deleted my website after having it for about 12 years. Once inflation shot up, I dropped that $20 a month bill. No, no once was going on to this. I think I do have some traffic, but mine's only 20, but it's not even $20 a year, or maybe $20 a year, and that's Canadian. $20 a month, but only if it does foot stuff. Yeah. Um. Let's see. Good night, soon says I'm gonna go. Good night. See you in October. Well, hopefully see you before that. Only Test Monkey says with only a Canadian Shield mask on. Okay, what is with only a Canadian Shield mask on? Oh, starting an OnlyFans where you read the Canadian Shield with only. Okay. Later. Good night. I think I said that, but we'll say it again because it's worth saying. Um. Hey Jeff, how are you? Having a good night. We're talking about this, that, chilling, talking probably a lot about my experiences and things that happened at the con that I was at just recently. Um, what else can we say? Think to say. Any other questions? Thoughts, people? Uh, so yeah. Um, well, Saskatchewan is a nice place. I can say that. It was all right. Although the buses were so-so. The drivers, maybe I'm used to a different place, Hamilton and other places. The drivers didn't seem to care if they were late or not. You know, I ended up missing a bus a couple times because the driver was late, left late, and all that. Of course, I was taking the bus everywhere. That's with no car for myself or vehicle. Although the Sunday morning and the Saturday and Sunday buses in that town are pathetic. But then again, I'm not sure how big it is, but I think it's smaller than Hamilton. I think it's as small as Burlington. Not that you guys know what that is. They are south of Canada. What are south of Canada? Test Monkey?
Almost everything.
So, yeah, I ended up walking from my hotel to the con. Well, it was only supposed to take an hour now. Me, I'm a slow walker, so it probably took a little bit longer than that. JR says, are you going to develop an Ontario Justice League? What characters might be in it? Well, I won't develop Ontario Justice League, but I am going to develop a Justice League for my universe, Avengers. The characters that are going to be in it at this point are well, the starting roster will be Canadian Shield, Snowdrift, the Flame, Insecto, Ozona, the Wiz, and Electide. They're all like the southern states in America, but in Canada. What are all like that, Test Monkey? Crooked Painter, I do. Eventually, I will expand the roster to 12 members. Characters that you probably haven't heard of yet in my universe. Or maybe you have. I don't know. Probably not. Well, it depends on how long you've been around this channel. A couple of them you could have heard of. Or were was there like 20 years ago. I'm not allowed back in Canada. I'm not even sure what you're talking about, Death Monkey. And Quebecois Justice League, they sit around smoking and acting smug. Saskatchewan. Okay, what? They're like southern states. Oh, I'm not sure what you mean by like southern states more conservative. Is that what you mean? I'm not sure exactly what you mean. I know Alberta was supposed to be like Canada's Texas, but it's slowly becoming like that again. But for a while, it hasn't been. But they're probably more like your Midwest or your your flyover states or whatever they say. Out they say the Midwest or whatever the states in the middle. Inbreeding, says Crooked Painter. Uh, trying to think of other things to say. The flight back, I went through WestJet. That was pretty good. It was not full, unlike the one going there. People were able to move their seats around. I stayed in. I was on the aisle. I got to the go to the window, and I started out. There was ended up being three of us in there. One moved to a different seat, and then the other guy moved to a different seat. So I had the whole three to myself. Okay, Massa Pinto says, how many more issues of Canadian Shield and Snowdrift are you going to do before they start work? You start working on first issues for other heroes that you want to bring into your universe. Well, the next campaign will feature not only Canadian Shield number 3, Snowdrift number 2, but the Flame number 1. Uh, for my well, unless I do some sort of campaign that's in between issues, the next 5 campaigns will each have a new character be brung out with their own book. Massive. Funny how Call considered legalizing. Oh, funny how Cali considered legalizing inbreeding. Crooked, but yeah. Did you run up and down the aisle slapping Snowdrift? No, I did not do that. Flit. And then even in the issues that I bring out in all those, there might be some other heroes that are being brung out, like issue 3 of the Canadian Shield, not Canadian Shield, sorry, Insecto. You are introduced to a hero in my universe called Demon Blaster. And then there's others, minor heroes like that, that'll be introduced to, throughout the comic. Crooked Painter says, I don't know. There are a lot of isolated towns in northern mountains. Yeah. Test Monkey says Xylo. Xylo is not my character. Xylo is, of course, Mallet's character, although he may or could let me have it in it. Of course, he let Dillard have it in his comic, just like I let Dillard have the Canadian Shield in mine. But at the moment, I don't plan on a Xylo being in my comic. The legend of harmonic alchemy must be told. Well, Dillard has done that, making him a little heroish villainish hero. in, of course, the Buckler #1. I guess first cousins can marry in Cali, says Crooked Painter. I don't know. You're awfully quiet tonight, Metal.
Well, that's because I just got back.
Uh,
My mom just came back home again from the hospital, so every so often she's just been yelling for me.
uh, see, I'm pretty sure he's in your universe. JR says you need to team up some of your new heroes. You can't produce a new character book along with an issue for each existing character. Well, technically, Canadian Shield does make an appearance in Snowdrift #1. Um, I don't need to take that out.
And well, technically vice versa. You can't see her, but it's the same helicopter or
Plane.
airplane or whatever. Yeah,
Yeah,
same airplane. Yeah.
yeah. If you notice here, right here, or right there, that whoosh is the Canadian Shield going by, and then the next panel over here. Let me bring it page. Let me see whether I can. I don't even have my. Bring it back up my uh, Clip Studio. Give me a sec, people. And then there's I forget which issue of Snowdrift. At the end, Snowdrift actually goes to Montreal where the flame is, and at the end, you see Jason Post walking by her, or they bump into each other. Um,
No, I think
you need,
what's being suggested here is that you need to do things a little bit more like a tag team setup where you actually introduce a hero through the plot of another hero's story,
yeah.
and then they spin off into their own story.
Um, you probably not getting the things, Test Monkey, because I stream once a week every Tuesday night at 10 o'clock usually. And then I do put up some other minor stuff, 5 to 10 minute, usually 5 to 10 minute videos. Uh, um, well, you gotta know the rules, or you have to talk to your neighbors. Good advice. You may have explained this a while back, Rick, but when did you originally come up with the Canadian Shield? Was this something you made when you were a kid, or was this a more recent concept? Um, back the character name, I'm pretty sure was in my teens. Sometimes the original design for him was different than what it is now. The original design was he was going to be like big fat type guy riding around the country on a motorbike. Um, and I don't know what his power set would have been, but and I'm not sure what changed it, but I ended up changing it to what he is now at some point, and I forget why. I think part of it might have done with the Legend of the Shield that DC brought out about Archie's character. But again, that would have been in my early 20s that that change I think was done, or it could have been my late teens. Uh, And right here, although I don't see the pencils for it, you have Canadian Shield and Snowdrift as well outside the window, just floating there. But then again, the pencils might be gone because he's so tiny. That's panel 4. So, yeah, I've done I know it's not quite the crossover people are wanting. And then because of the one issue that I was talking about in for the Snowdrift, where she sort of bumps into the alter ego of the Flame um, at the end of her one comic, you end up seeing somebody that appeared in her comic that month in um, the Flame in the next month because the Flame is in Montreal. And he ends up talking to him because of some events that happen in that comic, which I don't want to give too much away. Not that anybody would probably remember, though. Oh, you guys can't even see all this what I was just talking about. Crap, I forgot to change things.
No, they can only see your webcam.
Sorry about that, people. Okay, so let me redo what it's saying about some other stuff. Okay, I've never read Archie, but I did read some titles under Archie comic imprints, like the pre IDW Sonic and the TMT series. That was very loosely based on the 80s cartoon. I love that stuff as a kid. Yeah, I'm not sure whether you know this, Massive Panda. Before Archie actually started Archie, they actually had superheroes, and they've brought them back every so often. Back in I think the 90s, DC did an imprint called Impact, where they redid the characters a little bit, some of the characters, and they had like there's the Shield character from that one had like 18, 19 issues. They had like I think 5 to 7 characters, and they each again had they end up forming a team as well called the Crusaders. But as I was showing for this that you guys didn't see, of course, this swoosh is the Canadian Shield, and then right here I showed it earlier, but you didn't see it. There is the Canadian Shield in Snowdrift #1. And Nancy, this panel here, you sort of see in Canadian Shield #1, but there is a spot where you see her face a bit better in #1. So Nancy Snowdrift does appear in Canadian Shield 1 technically. That's her first appearance, although she doesn't do any speaking. Until you see this, you might not even know that was her putting this stuff together. So there are some connections in some of the stuff. I'm doing connections where I think I can and it fits in properly. I think with the universe.
See, what you should have done from the very start is you should have just did a double feature book just called Cross Comics, kind of like how like how there was like Marvel comics and stuff like that,
Yeah,
and then you could just continue the feature out every single time. You could have like Canadian Shield headline, have another feature in there, and then they can spit off into their own books.
yeah. Hiding those hints, we're going to have to start calling you Slick Rick. Yeah. Well, the other thing too is you got to pay attention to the wording for Snowdrift a lot because um I'm revealing stuff about Snowdrift just in hints with her wording and phrasing that there's going to be a big in about her 17th or 18th issue. There's going to be, I think it's a pretty big reveal. I think I've probably told Metal behind the scenes. I know I've told Dillard. Um, and I just don't want to say too much. I try not when I talk about her, not to give this away. And everybody, that was my mom. Although you can't see her, she just opened the door. Uh, Test Monkey says only Archie I read was older ones. Recently sold my whole comic collection of comics and paraphernalia, but all but Ricky's stuff, of course. Still, I have two sets of cards, first edition. Cool, cool, cool. Oh, there's something you probably haven't seen. Test Monkey, I got new cards. Let's see. Can I get them from here? Yeah. I'm not sure who many. I did do a video on this when I got them, but I got new cards. This art is by Vic King. Uh, Massive says, I agree with Metal Plus. Cross Comics is a cool name. It could also have double meaning, like crossover, where all your characters can cross over with each other and team up under a single title. Well, yeah, they eventually are definitely gonna do that sort of crossover. Well, team post link. I haven't got them on my website yet. Oh, post link for the video. And there's the back. You get some stats, the history. Of course, there is Canadian Shield 1. That art is by Eric Ninatowski. The colors are by me on both of these. Hey, Trusty. Just showing off some cards, talking about a con that I was just at in Saskatchewan a little, and just a little bit of this, a little bit of that. No to the cards. Well, you're talking about the video for the cards. I haven't got anything up for where you to buy them yet. I gotta get that up on my website this week or so. So count you in for two sets, and then of course, Messenger from the first book. Well, and second, we have his card, and again his stats, and with a little bit of his history, overview of his history, and then the villain, Toxico from issue 2. And again, his history as well, as long as well some of his stat stuff. And this is the first place actually that you're going to learn about his history, because it is not revealed in the comic books really. Same with Messenger. And this, did I show the right one? This one here is actually third. This is technically third edition of this card. Um, no, Canadian Shield #1. The coloring was by Pope Raven mainly. So yeah, this is technically third edition, because on the back here, the first one that I printed, I sent the wrong file, gave the wrong file to the printer, and it didn't have any of the stat stuff on. It just had a blank pink thing and a blank thing for where the history is. And then there's the second edition is right here. I changed things up a little bit in how things are on the back of the card to the from well with third edition, and on the second edition, and well, it would have been the first edition too. I forgot the durability stat, so I added it when I printed them up to go to the con. Hey, Manticore. So I have a sketch of that dude. Which dude? Canadian Shield? Yeah, I'm pretty sure you do. Still think you need to make a card game with them. Oh yeah, I would like to at some point for sure. I've got enough characters I could do that. I'm slowly getting that stat stuff um done on them. Other people have to do the number stuff like metal that know that. uh, have you? Yeah, I read that. Have you done the coloring yourself on all your content to this point, Rick? Yeah, like I said. But I. Oh, toxic guy. Cool, cool, cool. Um, what did I get? Um. Oh, I'm in the middle of remastering Canadian Shield #1. I'm in the middle of remastering Canadian Shield #1 with so that will have me coloring it once it's remastered. Not that I didn't like what Pope Raven did. It's just I want things to be a little bit more vibrant. Uh, Pope Raven went, I think, with a more pastelly type coloring. Would you agree, Metal?
I don't know if the word pastel, but it definitely wasn't as saturated as you would like. Um, though, from what I recall, too, you didn't really give them very precise directions on the coloring either.
Yeah. So I'm not blaming him. It came out fairly fine. Yeah, I did. I think a few minor corrections. You know, uh, which ended up with some too many birds, according to a lot of people.
Yeah,
Uh,
with the birds edition. The best part was when the bird was supposed to be in the background, but it was over the character in the foreground.
yeah. Well, the good thing is I was able to change that before it went to printing. Flit says still waiting on that Mugen style Canadian Shield fighting game. Well, I would love to do that. Um, I'd like to do that in stages in some ways. If I could work with somebody that knows how to do that, and we know a few people that I think know how to do that sort of stuff. It's just yeah. He says an old school or even an old school arcade style beat 'em up. Yeah, I'd like to do that definitely. I was half thinking, it'd be good to have. I'd like to bring one out for Canadian Shield 3 and all that. Have Canadian Shield, Snowdrift, maybe Toxico in there, and um, what's her name? Sunset, the first villain. It'd be interesting, just those four characters, and then slowly build on it. But that would be a lot of work, and I don't think the people that we know would be willing to work for free to do something like that. Because I'm not sure how many people out there would pay for that game and how much they'd be willing to pay.
No, yeah, game crowdfunders are way, way more expensive than comics.
Yeah, yeah. Massive Panda says, what all is getting remastered in your book? Just the coloring or other stuff too?" I'm tweaking a little bit of the art. Um, let me bring up. I think I actually have it up. Well, I have one up. I think. Oh no, I don't. Do, 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 do. I asked because there's some dialogue I want to change slightly in my first issue, but not sure if I should. Well, definitely gonna get the editing process done on the Canadian Shield 1, so it's all the grammar and all the spelling mistakes are corrected. Who can code? I believe Marsupio can code, right?
I mean, that is his profession. He is a programmer.
Okay. Laugh out loud. So many birds. What's the title of your autobiography? Too many birds. No. Mhm. Yeah, but he's a nerd. It says.
Well, those are going to be the type of people who know how to code are going to be nerds. So you have to deal with that.
Okay, so I'm just getting things set up so people can see side by side one of the pages that I've remastered already. Okay, so let me take my video capture off. Okay, he'll turn into a Star Trek, Star Trek or something. He's going to change one panel. Totally correct. No, there's more than one. It's like one panel change. But here is a look. On the left. On the left is the new look, and on the old is the old look.
I'll be frank. Right now, I prefer the one on the right.
The old one.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, why?
Well, it's got a nice flow to it. Everything kind of pulls together.
Okay, I'm not sure exactly what you mean, but by everything seems to pull together.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like I can see, especially with the flooring, why you use the word pastel. But overall, I wouldn't use the term pastel to describe everything. But it's got like this very word I'm looking for when it comes to lighting. Not abstract, but it's using the temperature for tone, right? And it's guiding your eye using the temperature as well. Which I know with you, you want very precise colors generally for everything. Like you typically want things to be the color that it is. While from the perspective of somebody who's maybe looking at it as a colorist, in storytelling, the temperature here actually tells you more about the emotion of the scene.
Hmm. That comment has made me passed out. Well, I guess I get you with that. Yeah, I definitely like the things to be more the color that they are. Anybody
Yeah, but
else?
that's why like you use like neutral scenes to establish colors. But you do want to sometimes like bend and break a little bit on it because emotion and tone can be very important and impactful parts of coloring when it comes to storytelling.
Yeah. Okay, so these are about to get squished a bit because I'm putting it so I can actually read the chat. Well, anybody else? Uh, I'm still pondering pastely. Anybody else have any thoughts out there? Also, I corrected some of the floorboard stuff too in here, as you can see. I changed a little bit of the uh, stuff on the Canadian Shield. Obviously I don't have the lettering on the one page here too either. So, and I have many thoughts, Rick, but expressing them here would get us both banned. We must protect Rick at all costs. And of course, here's the first page remastered versus the old page. And the first page doesn't have lettering where the old one does. I think I'd change the balloons on. I'm gonna change the position of some of these balloons too in the new one because I don't like how this one has so much over the old one has so much over the Canadian Shield or Manly Cougar in the last panel. Any thoughts on these ones, Metal?
Well, there's parts of the new one I like more, and there's parts of the old one I like more. Specifically on the new one, I do prefer the hull of monitors. I think the lighting is just objectively better on that one, especially given that it's supposed to be like a hull of monitors and stuff like that. I do like the very top panel. It would be panel 2 because the way the shadows are cast add more to it. I'm not sure how I feel about the shadows on the third panel with the hand reaching out, but that may not matter as much because that's probably going to be covered by a balloon no matter what. Just because there's not really anywhere else in that panel you can put the balloon.
Yeah.
I like the monitors in the original version of the big panel, the bottom one, more, but I never really cared for how the light was kind of like blinding things out personally. So I think that's definitely an improvement.
Oh, you mean the bottom half the
And
panel
yeah,
for the wings and all that?
yeah, and then obviously there's a small panel with Manly Cougar. Would literally, I have the same opinion on that as I had on the other page. But that's only because that's supposed to be matching the other page.
Yeah. Well, this is also outside of it before he goes in
Yeah,
too, so there's not quite the sovereign tone that's supposed to be there.
yeah, you can say.
But yeah, I get. Let's see. How many? Test monkey. How did Flick get a wrench? That's like giving the keys to a lunatic at the asylum. I forget how he got a wrench, but he got it. Crooked says, "Don't George Lucas your whole book. It looks like 50 years to ruin Star Wars." Uh, was desaturated the word you were looking for, Rick? If it seems the newer pages have more saturated colors, especially on this page. I guess it could be top right, bottom left. Yeah. Yeah, so I guess some things are going to turn out better for some people, some things aren't, you know? Do you like how I sort of put? Well, this is not that many people know this, but this place is supposed to be out in space. And so, do you like how I sort of put all the stars in the?
Yeah, yeah, the border and stuff. Um, it's cool. I don't think the border was necessarily that more or less impactful on either of them.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
know you are mostly trying to, at least on the other pages, like we saw before, you're trying to do that kind of like a red and white Canadian border
yeah,
for the Canadian Shield.
yeah. I didn't know what I was actually gonna do for the borders, or the gutters. I just got that idea because I ended up doing it on number two, and I thought it would work well for number one as well. Yeah. Let's see. Massa says, I kind of agree with metal on the monitors. I like the fact that the screens looks like they actually have light on them, but the screen light seems to be desaturating the foreground elements. Yeah. Um,
Yeah,
the
well,
great thing
light
is,
tend it tends to wash out color, right? If you're just applying it like overlays and stuff like that. That's why you really want to just get your lighting in the coloring itself, and you also typically want to for comics and heroic comics, you want to go more saturated into your shadows so
yeah,
that things don't look like they're washed out.
yeah. The one thing I'm not sure, well, I think part of the reason I didn't do too much on the monitors themselves, I did in between them. Um, and I probably could do something on them, is I don't have the page where they're all saved individually. I didn't save that. It's just saved as part of the image, if you get
Almost
what
like a
I mean.
wallpaper.
Pardon?
Almost like a wallpaper, like it's all just one thing now.
Yeah. But there's ways that I probably could take a little bit of time and get that all looking a little bit better. Let's see what you guys think of. You're probably gonna have some of the same thoughts about uh, as you did for the third page.
Oh, I feel like a lot of my thoughts are just going to be the same throughout. There's going to
Yeah,
be some things that look better and clearer, but there's also going to be some sacrifices because of the temperature was a very good way to establish tone and mood.
okay, well, so well, this is technically page two. Uh, let's see, Master Panda. Yeah, I learned a lot that the hard way when to do TB TBP. I'm not sure what he means. I might actually darken the shadows in the older issues by a lot so they don't get lost and faded in the print edition. Oh, trade paperback, I think that's what the TBB means. So, any thoughts on this page from old to new, new to old? Metal? You there, Metal?
Sorry, I had to walk off again.
Oh, any thoughts on
Yeah, me. Yeah,
Hey,
yeah. Sorry. Yeah, like I said, I had to walk off because my mom needed some help with stuff.
yeah, no problem, no problem. Massive says the third panel is really tough. I like them both, but I think I may actually be leaning towards the newer version for that one. Yeah, because I added with the third one, I added the piano in, and I added the pew on the stage, and I did the pew and took out the curtains. Maybe
Yeah, Flint
there's
wants to know why did you decide to remaster?
yeah. Well, part of it, I think I want to just tweak the coloring a bit more to what I would like. And like I said, I'm not taking anything away from, or not trying to take anything away from Pope Raven. He did a good job, for the time he had and all that. And as Metal pointed out, I didn't really give him any direction. I guess I didn't even know what direction I wanted either, so that ends up being what it is. And then I seen some pieces in the art that, I look back and it's nobody's fault, but that I wanted to make him look bigger. Like you look at just panel two in this, the verse panel two on this page. He looks a lot smaller in the old one, where in the new one, I think it shows his size off better. Captain Finity says coloring can make or break a comic book for sure, for sure. And I
I mean, it's
decided
definitely
with
more consistent now with the later book. There is one plus to that.
what was that, Metal?
Listen, it's definitely more consistent now with the later book. There's one advantage to that. I don't know if it needs to be consistent, but it definitely is more consistent.
Oh, the showing the size.
No, I'm talking about the coloring, right?
Oh,
It because you're going back and recoloring it now, it matches the second issue.
yeah,
I don't know if that's 100% necessary, but that there is this consistency to it now. You know,
yeah, for sure. So, any thoughts? Any thoughts on your old panel, or old page versus new page?
it's about the same. Um, Personally, I don't have even a problem with the scale in the old one. I don't know if this actually hurts or helps it.
Yeah,
Be, if anything, it might make him look a little too big because those doors are huge in a lot of those old churches. I'm
yeah,
not sure, but I don't know. It's probably the same way I felt about the previous one.
yeah. Flit says each issue having a different art and coloring style could be kind of a neat gimmick. Yeah, I don't want to go. I obviously don't want to go over all the pages, but um, just go over.
Yeah, you could see that in the original that Pope Raven really likes his secondary colors, which can be good for tone. There's a lot of like blues and oranges and stuff. Like not blue, more like almost like a greenish teal.
Yeah, and of course here is old. I think it's page five versus new page five. Any thoughts? Uh,
Well, I actually like the fly better.
in the
I don't
old
know
one.
if I like the background in the new one. I don't know if I like the background to the fly better, but I like the fly itself better. Now, a fly being dark actually is more realistic, but I don't think you always need to be super realistic when it comes to colors. So having these
Yeah.
fun green and red colors work well on that fly.
Yeah, well, I went and looked up a fly and looked at the coloring, and when you get up close like that, there's a lot of them that have that real greenish coloring and the
Yeah, it's
reddish
somewhat like
eyes.
it's more like a jade-ish
Yeah.
color, but yeah.
Uh, uh, Crooked says, personally, I like seeing the progression of art and style. Yeah. I must say, at least I like what I did with the bottom panel the best on this page. I think it helps bring everything out for that stuff. I'm not sure whether you would agree.
It looks like you're trying to fracture into micro panels. Yeah.
Mm,
Not sure how I feel about panel one though,
yeah,
but I'm in general. I was never sure how I felt about panel one.
yeah. Well, it seems I don't think there was any shading or whatever put in there, and or lighting. That's about the main thing I did with that. Well, I changed the skin tone slightly and put in the eyebrows. That's about the major thing that I did for that. I think it makes it look slightly better, but the way I did it, yeah, is I was trying to be unique. You know, you know. Before this, you saw the nose by itself and the ear by itself. So, highlighting each quote unquote what would be those senses.
Yeah, I kind of like the hammers or whatever they are better in the original though. I think the flat shading shadow just works better on it.
Mm, just to and it's the birds.
The birds. Did we get more birds?
We did keep birds, but we don't quite have so many of them.
Oh, okay.
And I think we might have used the same brush or a different brush. So there's. Oh, I agree with the hammers in the old one have that three-dimensional look because of the shadows are so distinct. Yeah, I can see that. I guess I was just trying to. Well, as Metal said, I like to go with what I think the colors are supposed to be. And I guess
Yeah, but
I was thinking those hammers would be black. I guess they could have easily been a steel or chrome or something like
well, you
that.
even could have just went with a lighter off black for the main part, and then had a heavier, almost like pure black or inked shadow on it, right?
Yeah,
I think that's actually a bigger thing, is because you're definitely getting much better at coloring than you were before. You've been improving a lot, but sometimes there's decisions that need to be made where it's like, am I going to do a blended shadow here, or am I going to do like a flat shadow or something that's more block like a cell?
yeah, yeah. I get where the cell stuff comes from, and I don't mind it.
Not
Uh,
everything needs to be a cell, right? Like
yeah,
you can use both at the same time. You just
yeah,
like the inside of his leg, that shadow is almost cell, right?
yeah. I usually end up having a problem with it. I don't know how to do it say as good as say Dillard, with the shell. It never seems to really look that good to me when I do the shell shading.
It's just practice, because what cell shading does is it forces you to actually like make hard decisions about where the shadow is,
Yeah,
right? And it actually kind of teaches you to think in like shadows and reflections and things like that.
yeah. I'm, as you said, I'm getting better, so I'm starting to think more and more better for that stuff. Obviously, it's just not quite there yet. So, what does everybody think of the comparison between these two, the old and the new, for this?
Well, I think having less birds is already an improvement. It's a fine amount of birds now.
Yeah. Okay, besides the birds. Flint says all art software should lock the airbrush tool behind a paywall.
I almost want to agree with him, yeah. Or even like a time gate, right? Like you have to wait until you've used the software for like I don't know 100 hours before it gives it to you. The paywall's just to speed that up.
Okay, so besides the better thing of birds,
Yeah, yeah. I'm looking. Oh, one thing I liked about the older one in the middle, right, talking about the cell, is mostly because it makes it seem like he's supposed to be facing the ground, and
yeah,
having this guy just above him, even the other one, you assume that he should be almost facing the ground, and I like having that big, deep shadow across the whole thing. I think
yeah,
that's good for that image.
I could see that.
The texturing on the flag, I think, actually greatly improves the bottom panel because the original was just really, really flat. Didn't even look like he was standing in front of a flag or anything like that. It looked like somebody just painted on a wall.
Yeah,
And like I said, I actually think that's maybe some of your better shading is on him because we do get some harder shadows, like on the inside of the leg or the rib cage and stuff. So that's better.
yeah. And this is
Not
even,
sure how I feel about the texture in like the volcano or anything though. Like,
yeah. I'm not overly crazy about it myself. I was just having a hard time finding some decent texturing for that sort of thing.
yeah.
And I guess I could have went without it, but I'm not sure which. I think I liked it better with than without, if you know what I mean.
Hmm.
And you probably could feel the opposite if you saw it the other way, but
Maybe I don't know. I'd have to see it, right?
yeah. But well, you see it a little bit without there, more when it's in front of you, but it's behind him that there's not really much texture, you know. Now let's see. Massa says, I think I like the panels 2 and 3 in the older ones because the Canadian Shield's outfit looks like the cold tone of the environment on him, but I like the newer version of panel 4. Well, one thing we have to know is in panel 3 at least, um, that's not necessarily a winter environment or whatever, because this would be almost the testing stuff in the future. So you wouldn't be. This isn't from seeing him, you know, in you know, um, the Arctic. This is not man like. Technically, this would not be man like Cougar in the uniform at this time. So although I made him look bigger, it's not necessarily man like Cougar.
Yeah, Rick, we're gonna have to get you to start playing around with gradient maps a little bit. I can kind of teach you about that
Yeah,
because what you can do then is you can still color like your precise color, so you can have everything set right. Like this is the exact color it's supposed to be in neutral lighting,
yeah,
and then we can like put down an area on another layer, right? Like select the just that panel, put a gradient map over it, put that gradient map to like a color blending mode or whatever, and then bring that down to anywhere between 12 to 50%.
yeah,
And you could start experimenting with mood and tone, like lighting that
yeah,
way.
yeah. I used to do gradients a lot.
Well, you know how a gradient map works, right?
Not exactly.
Okay, so what gradient map does is it will look at the image in values, right? Like basically it'll look like it's a black and white image. And then what it will do is it will take a gradient and it will treat one end as black and the other end as white, and it will go over the entire value in that direction.
Yeah,
So you can do that for like if you want to get like certain lighting or mood or anything
yeah,
like that in an image, you can do that. And you obviously you don't want it to like be entirely blue and orange.
yeah.
So then you would put that to like a color blending mode and bring that down to a lower percentage or something like that. So then it's just like an overlay that blends in with it.
Obviously, I'm not gonna do it on this, but actually, with I'm now on the Clip Studio 2.0 X. I was actually got them to correct my mistake, or and by that, of course, I mean they said, oh, you can upgrade to 2.0 and not you still be able to not pay a monthly fee, right? And of course, I didn't look completely before I did stuff, and I upgraded from my EX of 1 to the Pro of 2. So, didn't I wasn't able to have my multiple pages and all that, which really pissed me off. But they got it. They made it so I had there was a way so I could end up buying just do the upgrade from one EX to the two EX, and then they would refund the other money that I did to upgrade to the Pro. So, but oh, they have a new thing on here. Which where is it? Uh, Shading assist. Failed to run a shading assist for target area. Okay, why did you fail to do that? I was gonna show you guys show off the new shading assist, but there's something that they have with the. Let's see whether I can. Maybe it's because I'm not on. Do do do. I need my layers. Where's my layers? No, that's not what I. Oh, okay, that is what I want. There we go. Let's see. That's panel 3, right? So let's unlock panel 3. Okay, so do do do. Auto shading could not be applied to. Okay. Hey, Flit. Flit says, learn GIMP like a man.
Honestly, because I refuse to use GIMP anymore, I feel that I feel like having to struggle to learn GIMP before I started using Photoshop probably made it easier for me to use Photoshop afterwards, even though none of the things are in the same places. But oh, dude, learning GIMP for the first time was a struggle. Those are the high school days. Oof.
So you can now, I'm not sure whether how much this is showing it, but
Oh, that's kind of cool.
I'm not sure whether you can see the stuff, but there's stuff that you can use now to shade
I
assist
can only see your wheel,
cursor.
like the little blue thing that has like the directions and stuff. But
Yeah. And then,
that's kind of similar to how like gradient mapping works. Yeah, Photoshop is a cakewalk to learn compared to GIMP. GIMP is like using an image rendering software with your hands held like tied behind your back.
uh, I remember hearing about GIMP, but never used it. Says massive. So yeah, there's a new tool on yeah. Well, you probably get it on Pro too, but shading assist for thing. Uh, so I'm not sure what you think of this tool.
I think that could definitely help with what's it called, temperature for sure,
Because
because
just
that
doing
that
that,
it definitely makes it cooler.
I do like what I did there.
Yeah, yeah. Well, like the tool also almost like intuitively brings your shades into higher saturation instead of lower, so that does help.
Uh, there- and there's different things like you can do standard,
I'll be
evening,
back.
night, morning, simple light, faint light, backlight, stage light, color light, high contrast. And you can change, you can make it a directional light or ball light, position of the light for the light source. And then there's a whole bunch of stuff for shading as well. Flit says the GIMP devs go out of their way to make the program as unintuitive as possible. So you know what? I think I'm actually going to keep that because I actually like that shading. Based on, and it makes sense that he would look darker on the underside or whatever, like you were saying earlier, because the sun would be above him. So I'm actually going to save that. So what do you think of the ice panel, the cold panel, comparatively, I guess? Did you leave again, Metal? I guess Metal left for a second or two, but that's all right.
I'm back.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It was I would say a false alarm. It's like yelling for somebody, and it's like, oh, is my TV too loud? It's like not as loud as you were yelling.
If your TV was too loud, I would have told you so. Uh, I didn't hear him. Flit saying that you said that you had to step away from it. I didn't
I
hear
did,
you.
yeah.
I didn't hear you. I got concentrated on something else, I guess. Well, the light change for panel 3. I I kept that light change. It was because I was
Oh, nice.
commenting on the fact because you said, which makes sense that I should have put it even darker myself, based on the fact that the sun would be above them most likely. So makes it look slightly better. And I was just asking what you thought of the ice panel, panel 2.
Well, that was another one. It's like I think the cooler colors, temperature wise, ended up working better in the first one.
Mm,
I don't mind your attempt to try to make it more textury to make it feel like a cavern and icy, but
yeah,
I think that that's really where you need to experiment more is with tone and mood, in just in general.
yeah. Again, I like you said, I was trying to go for also the colors that they would be.
Well, I think that's a perfect place to start. Like when
Yeah,
you're
yeah,
like I know you try to use different colors when you're flatting, so things are distinguishable. But like the stage after you're flatting, where things start to become the color that you're actually going to make them,
yeah,
that's where you can start with things being the color they're supposed to be. And then when you get into like the lighting and shading and stuff like that, you need to definitely go more into mood and tone,
yeah.
temperature change.
No, I don't want to go too. I've got a few more pages done beyond this, but I don't want to show every page off. But I think that sort of answers what's his name's question from earlier about the remastering stuff. Probably a little bit too much. Probably a little bit more information than he wanted or needed. Let's
It was actually something that I was trying to do more myself when I was going back and updating the colors on X Dynamis Chaos, because my
yeah,
original color palette was just awful. And especially in the first one, since half the scenes were outside at night, and it was supposed to have almost like this paranormal monster hunting feel.
yeah,
I went and put like a deep blue tone over everything, and then just lowered the opacity to try to pull the colors a little more into that direction.
yeah, yeah. I well, like you said, I should probably learn that, and it's just well, I think my biggest problem is wanting to put that effect in there too, because as you said, and yeah, it's definitely true. I like the colors the way that they're sort of supposed to be. I think they're supposed to be. I don't. Well, I care about, but don't care about setting the mood via color in some
Yeah.
ways.
Well, I think you'll have plenty of places to have things be the way they are, though, because there's plenty
Yeah,
of neutral locations. Like most Superman books, when he's like outside in Metropolis, it's a bright, sunshiny day. Most of the colors are all neutral. But then, like if something gets really intense, or if he goes inside of a dark building or whatever, they will play around with the color for the tone that's currently going on.
yeah. Like I know with number two with doing the coloring. Um, when it was dark, I did all the colors the way they should be, and then when it's at night, I put a black mask on, and then just or what I call black mask, and then just lowered the opacity so you could see the
Yeah.
colors or
Well,
whatever.
and I think your natural colors that you want to do for those characters worked fine into at least during the start with the burning building, because the Canadian Shield being red and like a cardinal red-ish is a very warm colored character anyway. So you have a burning building, and even some of the greens, Toxico's in the warmer end of green, so that all worked with the fire naturally.
Yeah,
That's not so much of a problem. It's when you start bringing characters outside of the temperature that they naturally are is where you have to start like bending it a little bit.
yeah. Flip says, you don't even remember who asked the question. Sad. You'll never build an audience of loyal pay pigs if you can't make those parasocial connections with your awkward weirdos in your audience, says Flit. Well, like I said, I think it was Massive Panda. I could be wrong. That was like half an hour ago. You expect me to remember who asked a question half an hour ago when I went into so much detail over answering that I didn't need to, probably? I just figured it might add to the show a little bit since I was running out of things talking about. Oh, has everybody out there hit that like button too and shared this out?
Are we going to get onto that again?
Hopefully not. Hopefully nobody does what they used to do. Some people.
Yeah.
Uh,
Oh, I got a busy week, Rick. I got a busy week.
yeah. What do you got going this week?
Well, I have obviously the vomitoriums tomorrow, and then I have since Reese is still on hiatus, I'm still hosting his show for like
Huh.
the month, right? So I have that immediately afterwards, which I have homework to do for that show too. So I have to go read comics,
Oh wow.
some that I've already read before, but it's like I have no idea how long it's been since I've read them, so I have to go read them.
Which
And
ones?
then we're doing my favorite villain. Right. So everybody's on the panel picks like a comic for that really explains why their favorite villain is their favorite villain. I chose Dio Brando from JoJo's Bizarre Adventures because he's just a great villain.
Oh, okay.
There's a few different ones, but there's some like Marvel comics and stuff I have to go and read. I think there's a DC one I have to read too. And then after that, the show I'm actually excited is we're going to be interviewing Nerd Wonder about Behemoth #1 on
Oh,
Thursday. So
yeah.
that'll actually be fun.
Yeah, I saw that
Yeah.
thing up about that. That looked cool. Who
And then I
approached
have to
you on
go.
that? Did she actually approach you?
Oh, I approached because I heard from Marsupial that Nerd Wonder was looking to go onto people's shows. And I'm like, ooh, I want Nerd on my show. So I went and DM'd her. And then Friday, I'm on Mike's show, and I forgot until he brought it back up to us to me on Sunday. And then Saturday, I have
The vomitorium
the
again.
vomitorium again. So it's just back to back shows. I'm like, ah, it's a
Oh,
busy week, and I still have to read those short stories. Then they want me done by Saturday.
what short stories?
Oh, I had to like basically judge 80-ish short stories for a Newgrounds short story contest. I volunteered like months ago and I had no idea there was going to be 80 entries. Nobody had any idea there were going to be 80 mostly god awful entries.
And that's probably what's making it the hardest to get through it, right?
Oh yeah, they're so bad. I actually there was a couple good ones I've read so far. And by good, I mean not horrible. They're at least average, but like oh, most people don't even know what a story is. Half of these things are borderline, I guess you would call either like a memory, like a memento, or like a testimonial, right? Like a thing happened, but there's like no plot. There was nothing for anyone to overcome or anything like that in like the vast majority of these things. Some people just didn't even do that.
Oh, wow. Well, if it's a testimonial, hopefully that makes it really short.
Oh, you no. So the actual cap, there was a 5,000 word limit, right? And some of the better ones are the people who didn't even approach that 5,000 word limit. The people don't even know how to establish something that's going on in the first 1,000 words.
Oh, let's see. Flit says the host is gone. Maybe the show could use an angry goblin to hop on and tell the audience they're a bunch of nerds and stuff like is stupid. And they like is stupid, says Flit. So I think he's suggesting himself come on and
Oh, on
do
Matt
the.
Reese's show. He's finishing up school, and this is like finals and term papers and stuff. So it's like, yeah, I get it. I actually randomly, especially with my mom going to the hospital, am probably as busy right now as somebody who's writing term papers, but I agreed to run the show anyway.
Yeah. And what's everybody think of my new shirt?
I do like that shirt. That's a good shirt.
I wore it at the con. Flint says, just to clarify, that's a joke. I have no desire to go on.
No, Flit needs to be like half a bottle in before he jumps on somebody's show.
Yeah, so yeah, I wore this for the con all 3 days while at my table with a hat that said Cross Comics. Flit does the watching eyes. Yeah, so definitely sounds like you got a busy week. Yeah. I sort of, well, not quite in the same way, but with having being sold out of Canadian Shield #1 now, I really need to get the remastered stuff of this done so I can do a print up for whenever my next con is, which I don't know when that's going to be. It's probably not till the fall at this point. I was wanting to go to Plastic City Comic Con, but I just don't want to put up the money for the transportation and the lodging.
Yeah, that's how I feel about every con. You get have a con that's like next door to me. It's like, yeah, but then I have to pay for a badge.
Depending on how much, like it's only going to be, I think it's like $100 or something like that, US or Canadian, or comes out to that, for the table. Although that's only for 1 day, so it's like, eh.
Rick, I'm a cheapskate. You could tell me it was like $20 for the table, and I'd still be questioning it.
Well, it's just like, especially for the 1 day to go down and back, and well, there's the problem is technically, like to drive from Buffalo to where it's in Massachusetts, right? In Boston area, the Plastic City Con. It's supposed to be a 7-hour trip. They want to send me all the way down to New York City just to come back up, making it like a 17-hour trip. And then they want to charge me more or as much, if not maybe a little bit more, than it would cost me to fly there.
Yeah, that is ridiculous.
And this is a bus. It's like, come on, buses are supposed to be cheaper because they take you longer to get there. Flit says, Rich, you should get yourself arrested at a con. That would surely increase buzz. I'm not sure about that. Not the way that I'd want it. I know they say there's no publicity that's bad publicity, but I think there can be some bad publicity.
Well, if you do ever get arrested at a con, make sure it's one in your home country. You don't want to get arrested in another country.
Yeah, that too. you know, at least with you know, the con I just went to. At least it was a 3-day con. Seemed a little bit more worth it for putting out the money to go out there and back. And there's the thing too, just to fly to you know Boston from like Toronto, it cost for there and back. It costs almost about the same amount as cost to go out to like Edmonton and back. It's like this is just ridiculous. It's a shorter flight. It's like less than 2 hours. That was just less than 4 hours. So it's like a 2 hour difference, and they want to charge the same amount of money.
Yeah, that is ridiculous.
And heck, and I don't as you know, I don't I like I don't mind flying, but I don't really want to fly just because I'd rather deal with the land border guards and go through customs that way than go through customs at an airport. It's just easier, going being on a bus and going, across, that way, dealing with customs there than, dealing with it at an airport.
It's
But
too
just
bad train is not an option.
well,
Train is usually best option.
train is probably an option too. But again, that I think that's even more than expensive than the bus.
That's ridiculous. See, for me, if I wanted to go long distance, the cheapest way to do it is train. It's going to be the longest way. That's the cheapest. If I want to go across the country, I hop on a train.
Yeah, it's just trains. It was once upon a time that flight seemed to be the most expensive, then train, then plane. Not plane, bus. Now it seems, flight is getting the cheapest, train's like the most expensive, and the bus is in between.
Traveling by train is super comfy, especially if you like. See, I'm cheap. I'm good with going coach, but if it's gonna be a long distance, I spring. I will spring for the cabin, and it's nice to actually just be in a cabin.
I don't know how much it would. I should maybe check what it would cost Amtrak to go from Buffalo to LA for train.
If I could afford it, I would live on a train.
But it's just, and then there's you know, then hotel rooms. Just because I don't want to do um, the hostels for multiple days and preferably not even for one day. Like I did the paid hostel in Edmonton on this trip, but it was just like I knew I was just gonna go in, basically go right to bed and get up in the morning. If I wouldn't like it if somebody woke me up, but to say I'm snoring and stop snoring, but it would be what it is. I would only have to put up with it that one night for that few hours, if you will. So
No, see, and this is why going long distance on train is great, right? Because if you do spring for your own cabin, you can just lay down on the bench in the cabin and sleep in the comfort of your own room.
yeah,
Or if you don't care, you can just sleep sitting up in coach like people have done forever. That's always an option too.
oh, I could do that easy. I wouldn't care. Although it is nice having your own bed or whatever, I can say that.
But I
One of
find
the
it easier on a train to do that than I do in like a plane, and I think part of it is the rhythm of the tracks actually helps keep me asleep.
um, like my lodging that I had in Saskatoon was good. They had a mini kitchenette that you had to share with everybody, a bathroom that you had to share with everybody. but I had my own room for my bed and all that, you know. I think it was a nice double bed or maybe bigger, but that was nice. That and there was a table and chair in there, closet, an end table, you know, an air conditioner, although it didn't really get the room that cool in my opinion. Brought it down just a touch from the warm weather, but not as cool as I would have liked it. But it was what it was, and that was like I think about $60 a night, something like that, which wasn't too bad. Maybe a little. Not sure whether it was 50 or $60 a night, but I didn't mind the other stuff because that I really wanted it just for sleeping because that's wasn't planning on doing much in the bedroom anyways, except sleep.
Yeah, I don't
Although,
know. I don't actually complain much when it comes to travel, but
yeah,
I think I actually prefer traveling than being at home. I'd get restless if I haven't traveled in a while.
the only thing I hate is how much it costs.
Yeah, that's the big problem, which is why I haven't traveled in a while. Oh, especially with the price of gas going up, it's like, shoot, normally you'd be like, I want to go weekend trip. Let's just drive somewhere. But it's like, I don't know, man. It's going to be pretty
Yeah,
expensive.
yeah. I'd like to go to more cons. There's a lot that could be like day cons around here. That it's a 2 hour trip. The 2 hours there, 2 hours back, plus your con. But I have nobody to with a car that will drive to go. Just sleep in the park. Homeless people do it all the time. Says Flint.
Yeah, homeless people, some of them, they don't even have the decency to go to the park. I remember I was at a convention. It was at the Screw Attack Gaming Convention at the Hyatt Hotel here in Dallas, and this one that the Reunion Tower comes out of. I don't know if you've ever seen the Dallas skyline. That looks like there's a giant microphone in it. It's called Reunion Tower, and there's a hotel right underneath it. And I was taking some people down the street to 7-Eleven because I was the only local out of our group. And it's like, yeah, I know where you can get food. And we had to cross an area. It's like semi-park, but not the whole place was park. Some of it was actually just like part of the hotel and everything. And I was like, please watch your step. If you wake up a homeless person, they will probably grab you and try to ask you for money,
Yeah.
as they were everywhere.
Well, I think there was. I passed by some homeless people in Saskatchewan. They weren't in a park, but they seemed to be on benches in the downtown area.
No, these guys were just right on the sidewalk.
Yeah. Uh,
If anything, I think they want somebody to step on them so they can grab them and beg them for money. Why else would you sleep right on the sidewalk?
Because you don't care. To you, it's your bed. It's those people are walking on your bed. You're not.
Yeah, but I mean, there's two mindsets, right? It's like either I want to be out of the way because I don't want to be stepped on, or I want to be in the way, right? And you have to ask yourself, why would somebody opt in to being in the way if there's plenty of room, even just like 5 feet over?
Yeah.
And this is the area where like all the panhandlers are. So like, it's a bold assumption, but it's a pretty safe assumption too.
Yeah. Well, it's 12:30. I did the extra little time to make up for the patheticness of the trying to start this. So anything you would like to promote, Metal? Not that you didn't real somewhat earlier, but we'll let you go
Yeah,
again.
well, again, I'm gonna be busy all week, so just stick around for the vomitorium. At least tomorrow's show and the Nerd Wonder one I need to go set up Saturdays are already there, so you could hit the notification to remind you on that individual show. But I am working on the magazine. I was supposed to have a blog out already, letting everybody know what exactly is going to be in the magazine, like an actual table of contents, page per page. But with all this other stuff I've had to do, I've been so busy, I haven't even gotten the page count worked out yet. So I don't, maybe next week.
Yeah. What time on Thursday is the Nerd Wonder?
Well, I said anytime after 6 p.m. is my time central, which Nerd Wonder's the same time, would be fine. And she said, yes, Thursday's fine. So I'm assuming it's 6. That's what I have it set for. So it's 7 for you.
Okay. Well, I will try and tune into that live because you're going to do it live, right?
Yes, it's going to be live. We'll do it live.
And I'll try and get by tomorrow.
Yep.
Thanks, Metal, for coming on. Oh, let's see. Flit says sidewalk hobos can be dangerous too. A lot of times they're strung out on something, at least the ones that I've had experiences with, said Flit.
There's not too much of a drug problem with the hobo. I mean, there are obviously hobos on drugs, but it's more of alcohol abuse around here. But I mean, still, drunk hobos are just as dangerous as somebody strung out on something.
Yeah. Well, I will thank oh, Metal for coming on, and thank everybody. Thank Mike from one of the previous streams for coming on, trying to let me know what was going on. That thing I had already read his thing in the chat, but you know it was what it was. Anyways, thanks everybody else for stopping by and chatting with me and Metal. It's been great having you all here. Watch for videos coming out about some remastering stuff, and I will be back next Tuesday as well as on um, the mic stand on Sunday night. So probably on Chris and Diana's show tomorrow on Hero Shack as well at 9 Eastern. So bye for now. God bless. Have a great, wonderful day, night, whatever it might be for you. Love y'all. God bless.